God bless Malaysia. Let the Malaysia emerge as powerful new generation, living, radiating enlightenment to the world.
Nityanandam.
So, welcome back to the Kalpataru Malaysia channel. With me, I have today Sri Nitya Maharaj on our Kalpataru Malaysia World channel. Maharaj, why don't you introduce yourself?
Nityanandam. My name is Sri Nitya Rajananda. I am a brahmachari here in the Nityananda order. Here I work with Hinduism, specifically working with Sadashiva's very own teachings, the Agamas, revealed by Sadashiva himself thousands of years ago, and also the Sadashiva that lives amongst us today, Swamiji himself. That understanding happens only here in the Adina. No one can have that understanding, and that is what gives us so much fulfillment. No one else can have this kind of fulfillment in their lives, especially outside the Adina. And people who are undecided, saying they're 10-year devotees, understand this is something you would have experienced in your life, even when it comes to the last 10 years of your life with Swamiji.
Maharaj, in Malaysia, our temples, they're getting demolished. Like almost every 2 days, you know, like even like in an estate temple also it gets demolished. Like almost every day nowadays temples are getting demolished. And I believe if something like that is happening, it is definitely a destruction in our inner space, our inner image. And Malaysians these days, like we have one side where the public mindset is, sometimes there's also like the I don't care attitude towards this. And then there's another side where these pro-Hindus, where they are fighting for this temple demolishing and fighting for Hinduism. So what I am actually seeing is that both sides, they do not know actually what is their identity, where this is even happening outside. Why this has come on this platform of Kalpataru Malaysia World is basically to manifest your reality. In the end, whatever techniques, there are many spiritual organizations in Hinduism that calls themselves as Hindus, but they only teach about self-love and all about introspecting themselves. But here, Swamiji is actually saying that with a temple lifestyle only, your ultimate reality can be manifested. That is what is Kalpataru all about. So I wanted to share to the Malaysian Hindus where one thing which they are not seriously looking into, but is more of like trying to fight about it, talk about it, just talk so much about it, but nothing is happening where proactive action is being taken to stop temple demolishing. And we really need to address this ferociously. It's almost like we should not eat until this is stopped, because to manifest our highest reality, a temple lifestyle is required. An existence of a temple is required. An authentic practice to a temple is required. But it's getting demolished and we are only talking about it. We are only speaking about it so much, but there's no proactive action, or in the end, a decision where the temple demolishing is being stopped. So this is why I wanted to bring this first on the segment of Kalpataru Malaysia World. Can you share with them where they realize that it's all about them in the end to stop temple demolishing, to basically really stand up for the sustenance of our temples?
These temples are how many generations old? 3 generations, 30 years old, 60 years
Definitely.
old? Yeah?
Yeah.
See,
we have even 100-year-old temples, by the way,
in Malaysia,
that are getting destroyed.
Oh no. See, in Hinduism, the temples like the temple town from Tirunnamalai, where Swamiji is from, to build that temple, it would have taken 30 generations of people who would live maybe 30, 40 years because they wouldn't have long lifespans. So to build these temples, it will be taking around 600 years to build one temple. But the man who is building the temple knows very clearly that he is not going to see the end result of this temple, because he knows he will have a short span because of the inhalation of the dust and because of the laborious life. And then he knows that it will take generations in front of him to build, but he is convinced that this is the truth that I live by, that I want my family to live by, and that my generations will live by, and that same sentiment is carried down the generations until the temple is constructed. This is how the traditional temples are made. And it is not slave labor. This is dedication. This is someone's life here. We are sensitive to that. We build temples with all this knowledge and sensitivity to people. The same way the temples in Malaysia would have gotten built by your ancestors, by the Malaysians' ancestors, where the temples would have been built by your grandfather or great-grandfather with a particular sentiment. We miss the sentiment and catch the physical structure.
Yes.
Miss the sentiment and catch the physical structure. Oh, it is a building. You forgot the history behind the building, sir. Remember the history. In the history lies the truth, lies the reality of the reason why you should stand for it. You can simply let it demolish. But if you forget the history of it, that is easily let. That is in the same situation in India, when temples can be just taken away by other forces. That's the way where here we are also becoming sensitive to the temples. Malaysia also should become sensitive to its own history, its own forefathers, and their reasons for creating and bringing Hinduism to their land where they moved.
So, Maharaj, why don't you tell us, since you're working with the scriptures, basically our authentic source, since you're working with the scriptures guided by Swamiji himself, why don't you share with us what is actually temple?
When Sadashiva says in the Kriya Pada of the Agamas that you must worship a deity, Swamiji says that, and many other rishis also say, that as long as you have a physical form, you should be worshipping a form. So, when we worship the actual physical form, we become to a level absolutely sensitive to the entire world and nature. When we become not so sensitive and come away from the natural flow of life, then all these kind of anger, violence and all these things happen. But when we stick to the roots, when we stick with agamas, we'll find that it is a very natural flow. And to go and to go about making temples according to the agamas, you will find that they are the best resource end to end, how to make temples and how to maintain them, why you should make them, what is the purpose for an individual soul or a liberated soul to even worship the temples. So all these questions are there and answered there in the Agama Sadashiva gives about why temples should be built and how to construct these beautiful structures.